BYU Sports Nation, brought to you by the BYU Store, simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now, from Studio B, here's Spencer Linton and Jarom Jordan.
Welcome to Studio B. Great to have you. BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day play-by-play, and Studio B presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. I'm Jarom Jordan. Spencer Linton will join us momentarily. It's great to have you with us. Excited for this week. Excited for this show. Let's give you the show lineup today. A BYU running back switches NFL teams. Who is it and which team? 8:15 start times for BYU football. We've had a lot of those in Independence. Will we have more of those in the Big 12? The Oklahoman with some Tom Hummel comments about that and your reaction to potentially more 8:15 kickoffs coming up. What's your ideal time as well? Are we overlooking South Florida? A lot of production coming back for South Florida. Are they better than we think? We'll discuss. Houston play-by-play Kevin Eschenfelder talks Cougar football ahead of the new Big 12. And Jaron Hall left off a top 20 quarterback list. Should he be on it? Let's get to some headlines. The Indianapolis Colts have signed Tyson Williams, who averaged 5.3 yards per carry last year for the Ravens on 35 carries, scored a touchdown on Monday Night Football. Remember that? That was awesome. Congrats to Tyson. He's on the Colts now. Okay, NFL OTAs, organized team activities, if you didn't know, underway for many Cougars, including Zach Wilson, Fred Warner, Kyle Van Noy, and others. Good luck to the undrafted free agents from BYU trying to make the team, and as well as Tyler Algier with the Atlanta Falcons, of course. Okay, Gideon George worked out for the Denver Nuggets yesterday, according to his Instagram story. I confirmed with people close to Gideon and with BYU that he is still planning on coming back to BYU. He's just getting some feedback. He would have to declare for the NBA draft on April 8th if that were the case. Gideon's not a draft pick at this point. Perhaps if he has a monster super senior year, he could be. Baseball landed in Stockton, California today ahead of tomorrow's West Coast Conference tournament. Cougars are the 4 seed and are playing LMU for a 4th straight game. If the Cougars win, they'll advance to the double elimination portion. If they lose, the season is over. So a big game tomorrow at 10 Eastern Time on the BYU Radio app. Track and field, women's and men's track and field in Fayetteville, Arkansas, getting ready to compete in the NCAA preliminaries. The regionals beginning tomorrow. The men's start at 2 Eastern Time. The women's start Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The men are ranked 9th. Women continue to fare extremely well as well. BYU tied with Texas Tech for number 2 nationally with 62 combined entries. Incredible. Men's golf heads to Scottsdale today for the NCAA championship. To play a practiced round tomorrow, then Sunday's round on Thursday with the opening round on Friday. Because BYU does not play on Sunday, it is a unique situation, as we talked with Carson Lendale about last week. And Mason Moon is the MCLA Player of the Year in men's lacrosse. That's the club circuit. All-Americans as well include Seth Garth, defender Rob Richardson, and of course Mason Moon. Congratulations to Mason. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
You're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
What's Trending is presented by Bodyguards, protection for a life worth living. Learn more at bodyguards.com. We've been talking about 8:15 kickoffs for years now in Independence, and just kind of a thing that we've had to do as we bring in Spencer Linton. And Spencer, this has been a thing for BYU fans where, oh my gosh, it's so late. But we've had to deal with it, right? Now there's a quote from Tom Hummel to the Oklahoman. And oh, by the way, coming off of some of the spring meetings with the new Big 12, here's the quote. I get all kinds of complaints when we have another 8 or 8:15 kick time, but we're on TV nationally. And when we're on TV nationally on the big game, we want those games. That's one of our pillars. We want those exposures. We understand that could be a factor. Hummel said he thinks it's unlikely every BYU home game will be late night as part of some Big 12 package. Now we have a quote, but we'll have more than our share because it's a valuable slot for the Big 12. So are we okay? Are you okay with 8 or 8:15 times in the Big 12?
Totally okay with this. And I think the Big 12 wants that time slot. Why not dominate the day? You can have the big noon kickoff if the Big 12 is involved in that, and then get to a 1:30 kickoff, a 5 p.m. kickoff. Why not dominate the entire day? And there will be 14 teams as of now within the Big 12. So you've got Oklahoma, you got Texas, you got Oklahoma State, all early during the day. And then why not have BYU in an 8:15 kickoff representing that late window? I don't want all of them, but I'm okay with a few of them because I understand how the business works. And the big, part of the Big 12 choosing BYU was, let's venture into a new time zone. Let's venture into that mountain time zone, that West Coast frame, and be able to have Big 12 football be on all day. So I'm okay with it as long as it's not every game. Just give me like one, maybe two 8:15 kickoffs. Other than that, it's probably too much, too many late nights.
The question is, are we okay with it? Yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't love it. I would prefer that they be earlier in the day, right? Selfishly, as someone who, we have the honey-do list, and then the games. Yeah, I can kind of push that there. Depends. Do I have 9 a.m. church or not? That's the real question.
I do.
You know what I mean? So I'm mostly kidding on that. But I get that BYU understands, hey, if we want to be exposed at the highest level, we've got to go to that time sometimes. Because would you rather be on ESPN or ESPN2 at 8 or 8:15 or on CBS Network at any time, right? It depends. I would rather be on ESPN than not be on ESPN or any ESPN, right? I would almost rather be on ESPNU sometimes than like FS2 if it came to that or something. FS1 anytime. So it depends on exposure. Also, we can blame the Pilgrims for these issues, right? And the Pioneers to some degree. They came to the spot where it was least populated. In the Eastern time zone, 50% of the population lives there. And then it's a big chunk in the Central time zone. And then it's a significant portion in the West Coast, but it's not like the East Coast. Mountain time zone is the least populated time zone. So we've just got to tip our cap and go, it's okay. How picky do we want to be as a Western Power 5 expansion team? Because we are in a unique time zone. We're new to the P5 game. We're new to this conference, right? I don't know that BYU can be that picky in this situation. We just kind of have to take what the TV slots are and deal with it. I'm with you. I'd prefer that they not be late. But it just kind of is what it is based on where we are in league and geographically.
Yes. Big 12 after dark is now a thing. It's not just a Pac-12 thing.
Do it.
Big 12 after dark is now a thing. Can you imagine? I mean, think about the BYU-Virginia game, the 66-49 shootout. Like, that's going to happen in the Big 12 with BYU. Texas Tech.
I would think we'll have that
comes in
once a year. Like, I'm not even kidding. Big 12 defenses aren't that great, right? And the offenses are tremendous. And we're used, yes, Big 12 after dark. It's fun. Like, Hawaii has a niche because of their time zone. Boise State built its brand on winning first, but also winning in a unique time slot where, guess what everyone's doing Friday night that isn't in Texas going to a high school football game? There's a college football game or two that are on if you want. And that's a decent time slot. Let's be honest, Thursday night's a decent time slot too. It sucks for preparation, whether you're home or road. If you're road, it's terrible. And there might be more Friday night games here. Remember, the Big 12 is going to lose Texas and Oklahoma, its two biggest brands. The Big 12 is competing with the ACC and the Pac-12 for that number 4 spot in relevance in conference, right? Or maybe even 3. Obviously, SEC, Big 10, and then you're like, okay, what's the next one? So, yeah, 3rd, not 4th. You almost have to – it's a TV show. Like, it's a TV show. You have to go to a slot that makes sense. And sports is the only true reality TV show left. Though fans of The Bachelor would argue it's that too. But besides that, it's like, yeah, you got to watch live. So how picky can you be is the question, and I don't think BYU can be that picky.
My 2 favorite time slots for a college football kickoff time are 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 Mountain, and the 3:30 Eastern, 1:30 Mountain. There's nothing like Saturday afternoon football.
Yes, and we missed that because it was the WAC, and it was like on in steak set.
And if you want the prime time, you want the early prime time slot, right? You want to start at 7 o'clock on the East Coast.
Yeah, 6 on is prime time.
Sure.
Yeah.
8 p.m. Eastern, 6
11,
Mountain.
that's your prime time.
Because BYU's going to play Notre Dame in that 8 Eastern slot, correct?
Like it's 5:30 Mountain time.
Okay,
yeah.
so
yeah,
that's the perfect slot. That's my number 1, and then the afternoon kickoff at 1:30 Mountain, 3:30 Eastern is second. Yeah, it's not ideal to start at 8:15, but it's part of the deal, and I do kind of like the idea of Big 12 after dark.
It just is what it is. We just got to do it, which brings us to our stat of the day.
It's the BYU Sports Nation stat of the day.
Since 2011, so independent. 30 of BYU's 52 ESPN home games have started at 8 or 8:15.
Wow.
58%.
I didn't realize it was that many.
I would, if I'm the Big 12, I put BYU in 8 or 8:15 in Provo, like 3 or 4 out of the 6. I just do.
You want to dominate the day.
You want
that window.
Because, listen, you've suddenly added East Coast teams as well, right? Eastern time zone. Sorry, not East Coast. Eastern time zone.
Well, in the case of UCF,
More than West
it
Virginia.
is an Eastern Coast team.
Right? And Cincinnati, yeah. Cincinnati, and is West Virginia in the Eastern time zone? I think so.
West Virginia is in the Eastern time zone. They're just not on the coast.
Yes.
But close enough.
And it is our question of the day today.
Yeah. What is your optimal kick time for BYU home football games? I just told you mine. At Gristfather's chiming in, Jarom.
This is great. I like this one. This is an early elite voice today, perhaps.
Early season when it's hot. Speaking of the weather, 8 p.m. kickoff.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Love it.
BYU took advantage of that last year. Mid-season when it's optimal weather, 5 p.m. start. And these are mountain times, local to BYU. Late season when it's cold, 1 p.m. afternoon kickoff.
Why is the BYU TV game at 1 every time? Because the team wants it there, and we go, yeah, we're BYU TV.
Well, typically it's in November.
Yeah.
Right?
It's cold, yeah. We got lucky last year. It was amazing weather. This year it's November 19th again, and it could be dicey.
Send in your responses, hashtag BYUSN. All right, Jarom, on to topic 2. BYU, whether they're playing in the afternoon or late at night, they return 85% of the production from last year, second most in college football. We've talked about it a lot. We're very excited about what BYU brings back. South Florida, BYU's opening game on the road in Tampa, has the same number of returning production. Yet Vegas says right now this is a 12.5-point win for BYU on the road. So with that number in mind, 85% of USF's production back, are we somehow overlooking the USF Bulls in week 1?
No. They've been 3-18 the last 2 years under Jeff Scott, former OC from Clemson.
Even with the transfer quarterback from Baylor and Jerry Bohannon.
They doth stinketh to me. They were 100-plus ranked in 20 major categories, 29th worst offense, 8th worst defense. Just because you return those guys doesn't mean they're going to get, vastly better. Sure, you hope for improvement, but this was a game on paper that felt close and looks close from the box score. It wasn't close. BYU was up 21-0 in this game against USF. Had to ice the game away, but no, it's going to be all right. BYU's going to dominate this game. BYU's too good to will it be closer than we think or something? I don't really care. BYU's going to win this game and then have Baylor at home. No.
Well, the 88% of the offense returning for USF, how does that factor in if they're starting Jerry Bohannon at quarterback? Because he wasn't part of the USF offense last year. So does that go away if he becomes the starter then?
Well, maybe the starter, it was Timmy, what's his bucket? Timmy
Scott?
No. McLean.
Timmy McLean.
He's still back, so he's part of that 88%. But, they stink, man. They're terrible.
So you're not worried in the least
not
about
one
the production
iota.
that USF brings back. I'm a little bit concerned because BYU has been – it's been weird for BYU in the state of Florida. I don't know why.
Wasn't weird the last time.
Boca Raton, you're right. It took BYU Sports Nation and Jarom Jordan being at the Boca Raton Bowl.
Dylan Gabriel, such a great quarterback. That guy's 5'10", man. Come on.
I'm dealing with a little bit of PTSD with what has happened to BYU in that state. UCF 2014, USF 2019. BYU lost to a 4-8 USF team with Jaron Hall in his first start 3 years ago.
Is this Jaron Hall's first start?
No, it's not. He's a totally different quarterback. BYU's a totally different team. Way better, way more improved, way more senior heavy.
Is BYU coming off of 4 brutal P5s and then at Toledo?
Nope. No.
They're not.
No. Totally fair points.
Exactly.
Totally fair points.
This is why I'm not concerned.
So maybe it's PTGD, post-traumatic game disorder.
Game disorder. Yeah, this is a new one.
Or post-traumatic Florida disorder.
A Florida man was arrested for a random weird thing with an alligator again.
So yeah. I'm a little worried, but not too worried. I still think BYU is going to win by 2 scores. That's going to happen.
20 years ago. Let's go.
We'll find out what that final score is in how many days?
Countdown to the Bulls.
102. We're approaching 100 days away from game number 1.
I like that a lot. How come the Bulls mascot and sort of vibe is way cooler than Utah State's, despite being the same thing?
I don't know.
Why is that? I think it's because they have gold and green. I think it's when I hear Aggie, I think of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Agricultural and mining. Yeah.
Now, of note, Baylor, out of all the teams that BYU plays this year, they bring back just 47% of their production from last year's Sugar Bowl champion and Big 12 champion team.
Strike.
122nd out of 130 teams.
A reminder that BYU had the second fewest amount of production.
And they were still
last
awesome. You're
year.
right.
And coming up, could Zach Wilson be a Super Bowl starting quarterback this season? One notable name, think.
And we continue the preview of the new Big 12 with Houston Cougars play-by-play voice Kevin Eschenfelder. He joins the show next on BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Bodyguards, protection for a life worth living.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history. There is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you. Call us today.
Hi, Spencer Linton here, letting you know when your company joins the BYU team as a corporate partner, your brand can be featured in sports programming on BYU TV and BYU Radio. In addition to all of the great games, you can be part of the BYU coaches shows, place your message in Countdown to Kickoff, basketball pre- and post-game shows, and each weekday on BYU Sports Nation. We invite your team to join ours and become a corporate sponsor of BYU Athletics. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
Follow the ups and downs of elite young gymnasts in an exclusive behind-the-scenes look as they twist, flip, and bounce their way to the podium. See the commitment, effort, and mindset it takes for these competitors to rule their sport on Gym Stars, on BYU TV, or on the free app.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
What's better than playing LMU 3 times? How about 4? As the two tangle as the 4-5 matchup in the West Coast Conference Tournament tomorrow night in Stockton, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can listen to it on BYU Radio. Cougs have to win to get into the double elimination portion. If they lose, season over. So huge game tomorrow night.
Just win. Hopefully BYU's in Stockton for a long time, Jarom.
But not that long, let's be honest.
We're live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I'm Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. Joining us now over Zoom is the play-by-play specialist for the University of Houston Cougars. His name is Kevin Eschenfelder, making his return to BYUSN. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. North Carolina A&T, another set of Aggies that you guys need to know about there. How about that one?
So many agricultural places from the 1900s that have phased that out or not. Yeah, there's numerous Aggies, which is fun.
Kevin, we're obviously stoked out of our minds about BYU and Houston and UCF and Cincinnati being invited to the new Big 12. We think for the next 2 years it's going to be 14 teams with Texas and Oklahoma still in.
Well, that's a question we got to ask you. When's Houston coming into the league, man? We've been hearing it sooner. You got to buy out in the ACC. What's AAC? What's the situation currently?
I would love to give you a definitive answer. I talked with Chris Pesman when you guys called me yesterday. I just wanted to kind of get the latest on what's going on. And there's really nothing they can say yet with all of the lawyers involved and everything else. But I think they are hoping, nothing official, that'll happen for the 2023 season, I think is the hope for Cougar fans. That's not anything I've heard from U of H officially, obviously. But, it's going to be up in the air. They're going to see how it plays out. I think both sides are going to probably try to do what's best for them, for their side, which would be, the universities leaving the American Conference and obviously the American Conference. But as far as knowing about buyouts and how that's going to play out, I guess that's just going to be a wait and see. But I do get the feeling that we will get an answer sooner than later. It's going to be coming in the not too distant future.
Kevin, and is it as simple as just paying $17 million, or what are the other super detailed complications involved besides just the money?
Again, I would love to be able to give you all these. I really don't know. I mean, those are handled at such a high level, and you got to be careful when somebody does tell you. You got to be careful what you say, because is it something that's told to you in confidence? I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. I know that everybody's going to be trying to work out, a situation where they have to pay the least amount of money or make the most amount of money on their way out. And it comes back down to that, doesn't it always, guys, is money. And, the American Conference, they don't want to have to lose their best teams anytime sooner than they're going to. And even though they know it's inevitable. So we'll see how it plays out.
If there's no buyout to get in early, is the first year 25 at this point?
I think it could happen before that. That's just one person's opinion. I think it could happen before that. I think that's what everybody hopes will happen before that. But man, the twists and turns that come with, what's going to happen with the teams that are the existing teams that are in the Big 12 right now. What's going to happen with the teams that are coming in. I'm just excited about the fact that the Big 12, not only is Houston getting in, but they're getting in with such good programs. I mean, UCF is a sleeping giant that we saw awaken a few years ago. Cincinnati, I'm telling you, Cincinnati had 9 guys go in the NFL draft. I think only Ohio State had more people drafted. BYU is BYU, a program that's right there every single year. And Houston, I think, is a program definitely on the come. And so I just think it's going to be, from a football standpoint, from a basketball standpoint, I mean, it's going to be a big step in the right direction as far as the Big 12 is concerned.
Kevin Eschenfelder is with us on BYU Sports Nation. When you look at the new Big 12, whenever that happens and whenever it comes to fruition, are you in favor of divisions, or are you more about, hey, give me pods, we'll figure it out, and just the 2 best teams playing the conference championship game?
I go for that. I will say I like the fact that, they've got to think about, when you think about the pods, you got to think about, obviously, regionalizing this. But now you start looking at adding teams from Orlando and adding a team from Provo, Utah. All of a sudden that region becomes a whole lot bigger. So I don't know how they're going to play that out. I have a feeling they're going to probably have those pods, have those divisions is probably the way that it will play out. But, time will tell. Certainly, you got to think, we think about football, we think about basketball, but, there's the other sports as well that they're going to probably try to do their best to save money on as far as travel is concerned. So we'll see how that goes.
The divisions thing is really interesting, because with the NCAA saying we're not going to determine how you determine your championship game matchups. Pac-12 has already said, we're just going to go with the top 2 teams. It's like, well, what's the point of divisions at all? It's just a scheduling construct at this point. And we've been looking forward to, well, what division will BYU be in? What teams are they in? What natural sort of rivalries start up in the Big 12? I don't even know if we'll get that. We don't know. And we're supposed to get, in 5 months, the Big 12 schedule for next year. Is Houston in it? Is Cincinnati? There's still a lot to figure out here.
That's all the moving parts. And when you start thinking about this from an administration standpoint, an athletic administration standpoint, you start thinking about it. I mean, they got schedules to do. I mean, Kansas is on Houston's schedule the next 2 years as a non-conference football opponent. So, how does that play out? Do you lose a non-conference game if you're Houston, because all of a sudden that becomes a conference game in a couple of years? They got a lot of moving parts. And so not only that, if you lose a game, now all of a sudden you're having to add a non-conference game on short notice. And then we saw, if there's anything we learned from COVID, is that you 5 years, but the schedules are set 5 years down the road. And that's a bunch of hooey because let's face it, we had situations where there were games scheduled and 6 days in advance, and I was thinking, wait, what happened to these schedules are set for half a decade? We can't do that until 2034. So anyway, they kind of blew that argument out of the water. But now it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. How are you going to be paying teams to buy them out and not be on your schedule anymore? You're going to have to be adding teams late. So yeah, it's another one of those. And I hate to keep saying we're going to see how it plays out, but I think we're just in such uncharted territories because of the unknown. And I think you can say the same thing for Cincinnati, UCF, BYU, and Houston, all 4 of those schools.
BYU scheduled Coastal Carolina on a Wednesday. I'm hoping they can do it again, but not tell them until Wednesday. just so they have to drive their truck all the way across the country.
Well, Houston had a game canceled against Memphis, and they added Baylor, which don't know. Waco is about 3.5 hours north of Houston, and in Texas terms, that's really close. So we were going to Baylor. I was going, the guys from the radio team, we were all getting in the car, getting ready to go on Friday. And we got a text message. The color guy goes, "Hey, game's been called." I was like, "What? There's no way. They play tomorrow." Yep. Baylor canceled the game. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, they scheduled it in about 5 days, with about 5 days notice. The AD called me on Sunday and said, "Hey, be ready to do a game next week. I'll tell you." He told me where it was going to be, but don't tell anybody. So if you want to start getting ready for Baylor, get ready for Baylor, because I think we're going to play there on Saturday. And then find out on Friday afternoon. We already had the rental car, and boom, game gets
wow. Kevin Eschenfelder, the Houston play-by-play man, is on BYU Sports Nation. If you had to pick rivals for Houston in the new Big 12, what teams are those? What teams are natural rivals for Houston?
Well, I think the natural rival in the Southwest Conference rivalries that overlap. I know that's been 30 years since there was a Southwest Conference, but it's still fresh on the minds of a lot of people in this part of the country. Excuse me. First Southwest Conference game the Cougars ever played was against Baylor, and as I said, Waco's about 3.5 hours. As far as everybody else is concerned, you Texas Tech and maybe closer to Provo than it is Houston. I mean, it's way out in West Texas, and it's quite a ways away as far as geographical is concerned. But Cougars have had some good runs with Oklahoma State. So hey, I don't see anything natural right now. I will say this, that I was a part doing basketball games on television of Southwest Conference at the end of the Southwest Conference, and also when the Big 12 started. And, the Big 8 did not like a lot of the people that came in from the Southwest Conference. And they called it, and they may not admit to this, but they called it the Big 8 and the 4 we hate that made up the Big 12. And that's true story. But anyway, I mean, it was that mentality. So I think there may be a kinship that you're going to see, even though maybe not geographically, but psychologically, with the fan bases, with the student bodies that BYU, of the 4 teams coming in, because I think there's going to be for at least for the first half decade, maybe there's going to be a us against them, and everybody else is going to be thinking it's us against them. And so I think there's probably be maybe a little bit of a rivalry that grows and a kinship that grows between BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston.
Okay, before the show, we have a pre-production meeting, and we scratch out a couple of questions so graphics can make some lower thirds and get some B-roll and whatnot. And what's the word I used with BYU and Houston that I wanted to ask Kevin about? Kinship.
Absolutely.
You just brought it up. Let me tell you why I think there's also a kinship between these two schools. Obviously, Cougars, duh. One Heisman Trophy winner from both teams from back-to-back years, 89 Andre Ware, 90 Ty Detmer. New entrants to the Big 12.
Also a Texan.
Yeah,
also a Texan.
Absolutely.
Thank you. San Antonio.
Yeah.
And
bring it together, boys. Recent
games played. There is a kinship. Did we just become best friends, Kevin?
I think so. No, I do see that, and I think there's a mutual respect between the schools. Obviously, that and they have played. What has they played? Is it 3 times in the last 10 years? So 3 or 4 times in the last 10 years. So Provo's a great place to go play. It's a great atmosphere for college athletics, whether it's basketball or football. I think there is a huge BYU fan everywhere. That goes without saying, but especially here in Houston. And I know I saw that when they played at TDCU Stadium a couple of years ago. You saw a lot of people in BYU blue. And so, yeah, I think there's ties between the two. And like I said, Ty Detman, native Texan.
We got to get Gifford Nielsen to a game then. You know,
Giff
long-time Houston guy, right?
How about Giff? Yeah, I know Giff very well. Giff was here for a long time, number 14. Dan Pastorini was the starter. He was the backup, and then he came in. One of the biggest playoff wins in Houston Oilers history. Giff Nielsen was quarterback. Earl Campbell was hurt, and Dan Pastorini was hurt, and they went to San Diego and beat Dan Fouts and the San Diego Chargers with Giff Nielsen at quarterback.
Fantastic stuff from Kevin Eschenfelder, the Houston play-by-play man. We know that there's work to do on the BYU side, certainly on the Houston side, UCF and Cincinnati as we make preparations for the Big 12. Cannot wait until we get that first game against the Cougars in red within the new constitution of the Big 12.
Looking forward to it, guys. And, hey, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a blast. And I think you're adding a lot of quality programs to that Big 12. And, man, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Kevin, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Always a pleasure, fellas. Anytime.
Kevin Eschenfelder, play-by-play man for the Houston Cougars.
His background is better than anyone else's I've ever seen. Did you see what was in the background?
Yeah.
Hank Aaron, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, Hakeem Olajuwon. And that's just what I noticed. We were busy doing an interview.
Yeah, that's the retro elite backdrop.
And we saw that in 2020 when we had him on the show prior to the matchup there. But oh my gosh, no, it's going to be great. I like those homies, right? It's like you got nervous on a mission when you're like, dude, who's my companion going to be? Who's in my district? Who's my zone? I like the people that are coming in. I think it's going to be fun, man. BYU. Okay, coming up, what's your optimal football kickoff time? What do you like?
And which BYU tradition would you protect at all costs? This is BYU Sports Nation.
Wrapping up in a Minky Couture luxurious blanket. Getting cozy with family and friends. A gift for everyone. Minky Couture, official luxury blanket of BYU Athletics.
When my grandfather started this company in 1947, he couldn't have envisioned what we would ultimately become. We realized that our value to our customers is that we will be there day after day, year after year, doing whatever we need to find solutions to the challenges that they face. We are committed to be honestly better in all that we do, in every opportunity that we have to serve our customers.
BYU Food to Go's convenient location at 2191 North Canyon Road in Provo makes bringing popular BYU foods to your next event easy. Everything's ready when you need it at the drive and load pickup. You drive in and they load no matter the weather. And stop in the on-site creamery for great BYU chocolate milk and ice cream. BYU Food to Go, bringing campus to your table. Call for details, 801-422-5001.
Turn TV time into together time with the BYU TV app. Watch all your favorite shows when, where, and how you want.
This isn't like a practical joke, is it?
No, sir. Immerse yourself in stories with all the feels. Go on uninterrupted journeys of discovery and see families coming together while watching with your own. See new and original content, all for free on the BYU TV app.
BYU Sports Nation is brought to you by Maersk, enabling global trade for a growing world.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. He is Jarom Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton, and this is BYUSN. To interact with the show and get content throughout the day, follow us on all of the major social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Shall we whip it?
We shall.
The Cougar Whip Round presented by Maersk, your integrated container logistics company, enabling global trade for a growing world.
Spender, Jaron Hall was not included in the 24/7 top 20 quarterback list. Where will he rank at the end of the season?
He will rank as a projected first or third round draft pick, Jarom.
We hope so.
I think that matters most. I have no idea. If he's a projected first or third rounder, then he certainly will be in the top 20.
Yeah.
I'd probably put him somewhere around 10 to 12.
Yeah, and this list can have dudes that are not going to be third-year guys, so they're not draft eligible, certainly, right? And it has a couple of those. He'll be in the top 20 by the end of the year. Like, if BYU's as good as we think on offense, and if Jaron Hall's healthy and as good as we think he is on offense, top 20 is not a stretch at all. I understand why he's not on this list, though. It's hard to throw for sub 3,000 yards and be on this list. Like, he was just hurt a couple of games, right? And he didn't get to 3,000, which isn't a huge number. That's 260 a game over 13. So he'll be on that list because if he's healthy, he's going to throw for like 3,300.
Yeah, and if he continues to protect the ball the way he has, he threw for 20 touchdown passes and only 5 interceptions.
That's the key, and I talked about that yesterday with David. We can't assume that's just going to happen again. Like, that was incredible. He needs to work hard to do that again.
It still hurts to see Dylan Gabriel and Grayson McCall above
Gabriel's incredibly overrated on this list. Like
number 4.
What? Like, he's a good quarterback, but he's like 19 or something.
Do you trust Jaron Hall as much as you trust Dylan Gabriel? Like, if Jaron Hall went to Oklahoma, like, I think he would probably be better than Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel looked like a JV quarterback in the Boca Raton. He did. Go back and watch.
On to the next. Chris Collinsworth, speaking of BYU quarterbacks
and former basketball players,
says he thinks former BYU quarterback Zach Wilson and the New York Jets could make a, quote, Bengals-type leap this year. Do you expect to see Zach Wilson in the playoffs this season?
I don't expect it. Certainly hope it. Want the best for Zach, want that leap. That'd be probably a year ahead of schedule for the Jets, honestly. Like, if they're competing for a playoff spot this year, that's probably where they need it.
I am expecting anywhere from, at the top, probably 9 wins. Like, they're in the 6 to 9 range for me. Okay,
9 probably doesn't get you in.
6 somewhere between, maybe 7. It's like, I think there's enough talent on that New York Jets squad, and Zach Wilson in year number 2. They're probably on the 7 to 9 wins this season spectrum for me.
This is not an indictment on Zach. I don't believe in the Jets, period. Like,
7 to 9 wins for the Jets would be a major step forward.
Well, 7 plus 3 games, yeah. They did so good in the draft. Like, all right, then go compete for a playoff spot. Let's go.
Can you be 9-8? Can you play 17 games there? Can you be over 500?
Then maybe, if the league's bad, maybe you make a playoff. Elijah Bryant said the following after winning the EuroLeague championship with Anadolu Efes in Turkey. I cried for both of them, actually, but I cried a little bit more for this one. There are a lot of emotions involved. I had a bigger contribution in this one, but it's rare, man. I'm super grateful. Would you rather ride the bench as an NBA champion or be a contributor on a EuroLeague champion? He did both.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
That's the beauty of it.
First player in basketball history.
He got to experience both.
To win back-to-back.
But if I had to pick one, and I think it'd be fun to play in the EuroLeague, tour Europe, and be a contributor on that team, win that championship. Like, you always want to feel like you were an immediate part of something. Like, Elijah's time with the Bucks was so short. Like, it's hard to feel like, yeah, I was a major contributor in this NBA championship. I know went to practice and all that stuff, but he was a significant contributor for this EuroLeague championship. So I would probably opt for that just because you feel like you were an actual part of something.
Both are awesome. It'd be NBA for me because that's the top of the basketball mountain. That'd be pretty cool.
Even if you don't play.
Well, yeah. Yeah. But I'd be rather be a role player on a college football national championship team or a Super Bowl winning champ, although I didn't play my Super Bowl, baby. Let's go.
Okay. The University of Nebraska has announced that it will do away with a 50-year tradition of releasing balloons after their first touchdown of the game due to this is serious, worldwide helium shortage.
Which, by the way, we learned that Russia has a bunch of the helium. That's the issue.
Russia's shutting everything down.
Dang it.
Which BYU tradition would you most hate to see go?
There are a lot of ones I'd hate to see go. Cougar Tails is number one. If Cougar Tails just suddenly went, they're like, you know what? We ran out of meat. We can't do it. That would be
we can't
terrible.
Produce the maple frosting.
Vermont suddenly shuts down, has no trees or something. They all get felled. That would stink. Cosmo.
That's for me. That's the one for me. Like, if Cosmo went away,
rough.
If Cosmo went away, that would crush me.
I love Cosmo so much. Like I feel like Cosmo's part of my family. I really do.
Can he be considered a tradition? Can a mascot be a tradition?
Yeah.
I think so too. And so for me, like, I love Cougar Tails and I love Maple Donuts, but if Cosmo went away, that would be crushing.
The other one is beating the Pac-12. Like if BYU stopped doing that, that would also crush me. Yeah.
Clip that off.
Go see the video.
Send it out.
Go see the video.
Clip it off and send it out. Jarom, rest in peace for your mentions today.
Most of those youths are already muted. Big Game Boomer ranks BYU's alternate uniforms 5th best in the nation, saying BYU does blue right. Is there a way the Cougars can find a way to do tan right?
Yes.
Is that even possible?
There is a way. In fact, we showed you on April Fool's Day. There is a way for BYU to do tan the right way, and it is on the far right side of the screen for those watching on TV. It is the Navy uniforms.
Oh, you're not even doing the one on the left.
No.
You don't want
I don't want
You want tan as an accent color.
I want tan as an accent, but in dark navy. So tan numbers, tan decals, but full Navy uniform. Like, I think that is sharp. That is a sharp look. If you're going to do Navy, that's the only way that BYU should and can do it.
I've looked. To me, it looks like there was some bleeding from the washer that went over. Now in the dryer, you're like, crap.
On the left one?
No, on the right.
Light brown?
No, on the right. No, the one that's tan on the left ain't bad, honestly, because it's close to gold. That's why. Like straight tan, homie. Let's do a tan bib and just have the worst uniform ever.
Would you buy a bib if they brought it back for one game?
No,
would you buy that jersey?
I would ask to get it free. Because I'm cheap.
Okay. You would attempt to get it though, right? Because it would be
just because it's an abomination.
So much nostalgia.
It's a collector's item. No.
Yes, it's a collector's item.
Not nostalgia. I hate it. I have negative nostalgia, I guess.
Really? Rob Morris?
Yeah, I friggin' hate those ones. They're terrible. We look like idiots.
Kevin Federick?
Nike has done us so well. They did us dirty on that one.
Margin hooks?
Everything else has been amazing, but those unis.
There were some great players that played in the bibs.
I didn't say there weren't great players. I said the bibs sucked. If I give it to a baby.
But you know fans would be all over it if they released it for one game. Like, the bib game. Let's go.
They wouldn't be, they'd be like, ugh.
Kyle Van Noy was successful in the TikTok duct tape challenge, Jarom, because that's what we're doing these days. TikTok
they tie
duct
your wrist
tape
and then
challenges. You wrap up your wrists, you got to break it. Are you impressed that Kyle was strong enough to break the duct tape around his wrists?
No, I'm not impressed because Kyle is an NFL player. He's super strong. I'm also not impressed by like when Kyle Collinsworth works out, he's a pro athlete. He should be in great shape. He's in amazing shape. He's a good motivator. But your job is to be strong. My job is to talk. I don't have to be strong with my wrists.
He was excited, and I think the excitement is merited. Yeah, I'm impressed. It's tough to break your wrist with duct tape.
I'm not even mad. I'm actually impressed.
Yeah, I'm impressed. That's good. I appreciate.
Pro athlete does something to do with strength.
I appreciate the genuine excitement he has after probably the most in that
that's
video.
That's fun. But yeah, when someone who is strong does something that requires strength, I go, oh, cool. Mark Pope responds to Colin Chandler's tweet about Pope growing his hair out with the following: Cougar Nation, help me out. What haircut will Colin Chandler be rocking when he's tearing up the Big 12? Hey, a few of these are rough. Which hairstyle are you liking the most, Chandler?
Listen, I like the Justin Timberlake curly frock. I'm all about it. Like Colin's hair, throwing it back to NSYNC in like the year 2000 when Justin was prime.
You're saying
JT,
his regular hair?
His regular hair. I like his regular.
That's what his hair is now.
I think that's what it should be and what it's going to be. I like it. That was peak JT. Also peak Britney Spears.
Nice. If the one on the left actually happens, did BYU go to the Big West or something? Did something happen?
It's funny. The one on the left will never happen. Please.
Who's Mark Pope's Photoshop? Coming up, today's Rise and Shout Out, the crappy Photoshop.
And they're not in the afternoon anymore. Do you want games in the afternoon? This is BYU Sports Nation.
Dexter & Dexter is a full-service law firm offering a wide range of legal services. Since 1995, we have helped more than 20,000 Utahns both to navigate life's challenges and to make the most of life's opportunities. From auto accidents to criminal defense, and from bankruptcy to family law, we are passionate about shouldering your burdens. To learn more about scheduling a no-obligation consultation, visit dexterlaw.com.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford. Think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
There's nothing quite like doing a live sketch.
Having the audience nearby is really, really neat to just be able to connect with them and hopefully make their day better.
When you are doing a sketch and you hear your first laugh, it's just like, here we go, let's go for it.
I mean, one of the most rewarding things is having people saying I struggle with this or this, and you guys are able to make me laugh at it and realize I'm not the only person going through those things.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
For Cougar sports game highlights, interviews, archive content, subscribe to the BYU TV Sports and BYU Sports Nation channels today.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation, live in Studio B. Our question of the day: what is your optimal kick time for BYU football home games? At Jazz Suns
Which
tweets
team do
in,
you like?
You should schedule the games versus West Virginia as late as possible in Provo, so it's like playing at midnight for them.
True. That happened to Virginia.
Virginia was in this experience last year.
Yeah.
You know, he says, West Virginia, Cincinnati, UCF, all Eastern time zones will want noon starts, so it's like playing BYU at 10 a.m., fair game.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Has not fared well for BYU traditionally as well. I'm thinking Michigan 2015, although Michigan was really good. I don't know that it had much to do with the time of day. But BYU didn't go out early enough to accommodate in that. Bronco admitted that after the fact. Like a Saturday noon game, you probably need to get there on Thursday, not Friday, to have that whole day, kind of get the body ready to go. Depends. So that might affect the budget, But BYU will have a bunch more money coming up soon.
Steve Webb on Facebook says, I don't care when they kick off as long as BYU wins. A win over Utah that kicks off at 8:30 p.m. feels just as wonderful as beating the Utes at noon or any other time.
You know what is unique about, and that's a good point, but you know what's unique about this situation is BYU fans watching all over the world, literally all over the world, the time matters. Like in foreign countries where they're like, it's like stupid a.m. o'clock. And I have church or whatever, or I'm watching in church, depending on where you are, right?
Oh, I have a good friend in Tokyo. Shout out to Corey Yoshimura, who was watching BYU football games early on Sunday mornings because of the time differential.
So the time matters. Obviously, living in Asia, it's going to be unique no matter what. But it'd be nice for the domestic fans at a certain time. But again. It's fun to think about what would be the ideal time. Ultimately, BYU is a newcomer in a unique time zone. It just kind of is what it is. We'll just have to – it's not like BYU has any leverage in this conversation whatsoever. And it's not just with the league. It's with the TV partners. BYU's coming – like before, BYU could talk to ESPN and be like, hey, could we do this? Could we do this? And even then, when BYU was the only team in its TV contract, it was still like, yeah, 8:15. You know what I mean? So, even less leverage in this situation.
I've always wondered what it would be like to be in Tokyo on a Sunday because it's 9 hours back and a day ahead. So, if BYU football kicks off at 8:15 p.m.
You're in the future.
It's 11:15 in the morning on Sunday.
Hopefully, you have 9 a.m. church. And at 11.
Hang on a second, Bishop. Hang on a second. BYU's on the 2-yard line.
Let me admit to something that I'm not proud of.
Are you sure you want to do this?
I am.
Okay.
When Tiger Woods was about to win the Masters, I had an AirPod in Sacramento. Because I was like, dude, this is too good. This is too good. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not going to say which part of Sacramento. But it was awesome. I'm not doing that on the reg with like the Seahawks though.
Technology.
What time do we have church right now? 10:30? 10:30 is the celestial time for church. Maybe even 11. 9 is terrestrial, and then like noon is like telestial for sure. And then if you have anything later than that, outer darkness.
Oh my goodness.
That's how it works.
At Chachi on Twitter. I'm supposed to read it that way, right?
I think that's correct.
That's what I felt when I saw that Twitter handle. Chachi!
Because there's a bunch of E's.
Yeah. All right. To quote Chachi on Twitter, big 8 p.m. start guy.
Okay.
Do everything you need to during the day on Saturday.
Yes.
Then cap it off at Lavelle Edwards Stadium when the beautiful sun is setting and the vibes are immaculate.
Okay, you and I aren't in the take your whole family to the game because we work with the game. So it's hard with little kids if it's too late. You can't, like my 3-year-old Tate, I can't take him to the game. I could take Venna. She's 9 today, by the way.
That's rough because you get home at like 1 a.m.
It's hard, yes. And then we party hard. It's like a 3 or 4 a.m. thing after, just swatchos as far as the eye can see. And then we go home and it's like Tuesday, I'm like finally recovered from that situation. So, yeah, I get it. But you can get everything done during the day. You know what I mean? Get all the honey-do lists done. Get whatever you need to do. The soccer games in the morning, the whatever, basketball.
Listen, don't worry about it. Cha-chee! Just do it.
Coming up, more from Cha-chee, maybe in the elite voice of the day.
Plus, Top 5 Tuesday presents the top 5 first-year performances by BYU head coaches.
Okay.
This is BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
My name is Spencer Finnegan. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. During my sophomore year, I got married to my sweetheart, Mary, and there's tons of unexpected expenses when it comes to marriage. We were looking for scholarships. I found the replenishment grant, and my local alumni chapter gave me a grant to help me focus in on school. I'm so excited to, now that I've graduated, give back to those students that are coming to BYU in the future.
There are things happening in Seaburg. Explosions, dead fish.
Seaburg, come for the beach, stay for the radiation. I'm worried that the dead fish might have something to do with element 126.
We need to find out who's behind all of this.
We can't just let them get away with it.
So how do we get inside and get proof?
You want to take down Green Corp? So do I.
Friends don't abandon each other.
What I did was wrong. If you'll give me another chance, I won't mess up.
I know what it's like to love someone so much you'd do anything for them.
We have to get in there and put a stop to whatever they're doing.
And if we can't?
Then we go to plan B.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
BYU Sports Station, always available on demand via the BYU TV and BYU radio apps. Doman to Staley.
Oh, little tan accent there.
That was a good moment, right?
Yeah.
It was a great moment.
It's great. Subscribe to the podcast, too. You can rate it if you want.
Tan accents are the key there. In honor of BYU hiring a new women's basketball head coach, it's time that we look back at the top 5 first-year performances by new BYU head coaches.
Okay.
Presented by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing. Hopefully Amber Whiting has an unforgettable first year.
That'd be great. Number 5, Gary Croton, football 2001. BYU went 6-6 in Lavelle's last year. So Croton starts out. Doman and Staley, 12-0 start, 7-0 conference record. First top 25 finish in 5 years, 12-2 overall. Luke Staley won the Doak. The Dominator, we got some free notebooks. Eventually, there was a basketball hoop made. 2001 was awesome, man. It was awesome. The comeback against Utah, incredible.
At number 4, Diljit Taylor, hired in 2016 as an assistant coach for the women's cross-country team. Coach Taylor took over the women as head coach in 2021. That year, women's cross-country team never finished lower than third in any of their 6 competitions, won 3 of them, including the West Coast Conference Championships. They would go on to finish second at the NCAA Championships, where senior Whitney Orton became the first ever woman individual national champion from BYU.
Pretty cool. That was last fall. Feels like a long time ago. No. That's a couple months ago. Number 3, Mark Pope, men's hoops, 2019-20. Cougars didn't make a postseason tournament the year before. Pope takes over from UVU, gets Yoli Childs to come back, Jake Toulson to come back. BYU goes 24-8, beat number 2 Gonzaga at home, finished in the AP top 25 before COVID hit. Projected 6th seed in the NCAA tournament. It was a special season, which honestly, we're trying to get back to that kind of year. That's like a golden, amazing year that BYU can use as an example of what is possible.
At number 2, Courtney Leishman became the head coach of BYU women's basketball in 1977, and he led the team to a 22-6 record, 13-0 in conference, both program records at the time. Again, this is his first year. Cougars went on to win their regional tournament, beating Utah 60-58 in the final game, then finished 1-1 in the AIAW National Tournament, finishing 3rd in their region. Again, this was before the women had a true March Madness bracket.
Yeah, it wasn't all organized like it was now.
Unbelievable season.
Don't ever tell us we don't research, okay? 77, Courtney Leishman, number 2. Let's go. And number 1, we're squeezing these together. Heather and Sean Olmstead. The Olmstead siblings took over their respective teams in the summer of 2015. Heather led the Cougars women's volleyball team to a 29-5 record, WCC title, Sweet 16. Sean's men's volleyball team with 27-4 won the MPSF and went to the NCAA title game. Tremendous stuff, and they're still going.
Oh, incredible run.
A great year.
Did we beat the system by doing both of the Olmsteads? Probably.
We did, but we declare how the system works on our show.
Our question of the day, what is your optimal kick time for BYU football home games?
Sundays at 4.
Our elite voice of the day presented by Sundance Mountain Resort.
This is good.
From @Cougmac.
This is good.
Who responds with just simply a picture of Zach Wilson with the headband. Any team, anytime, any place.
How do you feel about the headband in the aftermath of Coastal Carolina? Because I'm kind of like, oh. I loved it at the time. It was fun because it was like anti-Washington rhetoric because they didn't want to play that game. But then midweek, Coastal.
I'm okay because it doesn't, like, it says we will play. We will play any team, anytime, any place. And BYU was willing to do that with Coastal Carolina. So I feel like they lived up to the headband.
I would just would have preferred to win in that game.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It made it feel better, but, like, the concept was played out.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And BYU didn't really lose respect for losing that game.
No.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, listen, you take a game like that on 3 days, people value you.
Aggressive.
It's Rise and Shout Out presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics. But we give it to Mark Pope's Photoshop skills.
Really? That was terrible.
Our thanks to today's guest, Kevin Eschenfelder.
Get out of here. I wish we had time for Dennis instead of that Photoshop. Jeez.
You take Dennis over that? For Jarom, I'm Spencer. Shout out to Dustin Reichert. Go Cougs.
Oh, it's awful.